President, I remember that when the chief executive was running for office, he said time and time again about the importance of the rule of law, of our legal system. He said time and time again that these are the core values of the Hong Kong people. And here, again, in this policy address, a few empty words about the importance of the rule of law and how that is the core values of the Hong Kong people. Well, here's to empty words and emptier promises, this policy address. There's nothing on safeguarding the rule of law, nothing but empty words. Nothing on legal aid expansion, nothing on independent legal aid authority, nothing on providing better access to courts, nothing on strengthening our legal system, nothing on providing more resources and support to judiciary, nothing on how we can cut down court waiting times, nothing on better protection of human rights. President, if there are emptier words or emptier promises, they are here in this policy address, which has nothing but a fake promise which resonates of Chief Executive Election's campaign pledge. His first policy address offers nothing on any of these core values. President, if there are more important things that we need to safeguard, it is, of course, the rule of law and independent judiciary. Yet this administration's attitude on safeguarding the rule of law can be described in 3 words: weak, weak, weak. Justice cannot be upheld if citizens do not have access to it. And that is why free and equal access to courts has always been a key element in the rule of law. I need not remind the Secretary for Justice. Legal aid is a service that the modern state owes to its citizens who cannot afford private legal services. And the current provision of legal aid services is administered not by an independent legal aid authority, but by a legal aid department under the Home Affairs Bureau. Now, the profession have said time and time again that this arrangement is totally unsatisfactory. Difficulties arise in situations of direct conflict of interest. The conflict issue is not just a theoretical one. Evidence shows that the Legal Aid Department has not fared well under the Home Affairs Bureau, whereas the Legal Aid Department and the Department of Justice had comparable budgets of around 500 and 600 million per year in the 20 years before 1997. The Legal Aid Department's budget has been effectively static since, hovering in around 700 to 800 million per year, while the Department of Justice has more than doubled to over 1.3 billion per year. Both the Law Society and the Bar Association report that the Legal Aid Department has become more bureaucratic and less customer-friendly in recent years in handling of legal aid applications. Clients complain that legal aid officials now seem more interested in administrative compliance than in the department's mission of assisting those in need. Combined with miserable low financial eligibility limits that have not even kept up with inflation, the decline in legal aid has resulted in the unacceptable high number of unrepresented litigants in our local courts. Currently, more than a third of all cases have unrepresented litigants. This, of course, has a negative impact on the proper administration of justice in Hong Kong, creating a huge burden on judicial resources and judges. When the Legal Aid Services Council was first established in 1996 to oversee the Legal Aid Department, it was seen as an interim measure. Experience shows that the Council does not have enough resources and the necessary statutory power to act effectively. It cannot manage the Legal Aid Department properly and adequately without any legally trained and independent research staff of its own. The Legal Aid Department is supposed to look to the Council for policy leadership, but that is, in reality, impossible when the Home Affairs Bureau is calling the shots. With attitudes of complacency and inertia prevailing in the Bureau and no one in the Legal Aid Department tasked to look into reform and improve services, it is hardly a surprise that legal aid reforms so far have been piecemeal and ineffective. During his election campaign, the chief executive reassured the Hong Kong people that he would do his best to promote the rule of law during his term. Well, we know what happened to that. The golden opportunity for this administration to show its commitment on the rule of law is by establishing an independent legal aid department. It's of expanding the scope of legal aid, has been called upon by the Law Society President and the Bar Association Chairman in the recent speeches. But that has not been done. Most important of all in this policy address is that by looking at the rule of law in our legal system simply as a business and professional services, we are missing an important point about the rule of law and the values that comes with the rule of law. I can do no better by referring to the Chief Justice's speech this year in the opening of the legal year. He reminded us the importance of the rule of law in two facets. One is of transparency, the second of reasoning. The judicial process in Hong Kong is a transparent and open process. Courts, in as much as possible, are open to the public. Members are free to attend to see how judges do their work and whether they are doing it fairly, rightly. It is there to see. The second facet of the judicial process that we have is that of the reasoning of judges. The reasoning is the epitome of the rule of law. The reasoning given by judges is how we see and how we weigh, how we assess whether the courts are doing their job, and whether the reason convinces us is the barometer of the quality of our judicial standards. And those are the reasons why that the Hong Kong people do not trust the interpretation of the Basic Law by the National People's Congress Standing Committee. Those are the reasons why that the Hong Kong people cannot accept that a political body can, without transparency and without adequate reasoning, interpret the sacred provisions of our Basic Law, which sets out the framework of one country, two systems, a framework, a constitution that we helped crafted. The reasoning is what we expect from judges. By withholding adequate resources and support to the judiciary and judges when they perform their jobs in courts, we are taking away time and energy that judges can have and spend in providing the reasoning of their judgments to members of the public. And thereby, we are weakening the very foundation of the rule of law. Yet this administration continues its course without any promises or any policy commitments in giving our judiciary more resources, more support, so that judges can focus more of their energy on deciding cases and providing their reasons to public and of improving the quality of our legal system in Hong Kong. The legal system is not simply there to serve business or simply there to boost our economic GDP. It is there to serve the people, and it is there to represent the core values of the Hong Kong people. Yet this administration has nothing but empty words to offer. Finally, President, a word about democratic development, which again, nothing. We know that in the long run, a democratic system is the basic safeguard or the last safeguard for the rule of law and the independence of the judiciary, because it is ingrained in the democratic values of the Hong Kong people, that we are to have independent judiciary, that the rule of law go hand in hand with democratic aspiration. And without democratic development going forward, we cannot guarantee, we cannot safeguard the independence of the judiciary and our legal system without proper democratic reform. Yet government is silent, nothing in the policy address on these issues. President, I am to sit down with a heavy heart, hoping that the officials sitting across me will take it to heart that the rule of law, we really cannot sit and allow the foundations of the rule of law to be weakened and unfixed while under our guard. That these words, I hope, would resonate not only in these chambers but in the community, that we really need to do more for the rule of law in Hong Kong. And if we don't, we stand, my Lord President, if we don't take this opportunity to strengthen the rule of law, in generations ahead, we stand to lose out not only our position, our unique position under one country, two systems, but the next generation will be sad to see that we are the ones who have allowed the foundations of the rule of law to be broken and unfixed.